spell slots and level 2 spell slots and level 3 spell slots. With a warlock, as you level up, it's always your max level. So you'll, like, once you hit, you'll have 3 spell slots, and if they're level 3, all of them are level 3, and they'll never be lower than that.
Gotcha. I can see why people would love that.
But they're a little bit more limited, but they come back at a short rest, which is super useful.
Got it.
But yeah, like a sorcerer warlock build is really good. Pretty much anything charisma. Paladin warlocks are pretty strong. Bard warlocks.
Let me find some fun little sounds to put on in our little loading area here. Let's try. Oh, here's one called Myconid Colony.
That's just a song called that?
It's just a bunch of bossa nova.
I'm on tabletopaudio.com, so they have like 10-minute loops. It's not just sound, it's like, or it's not just music, it's like sounds and stuff too. We won't be using that all night, just for this intro area here. Get some little spook.
Myconida.
Who just did like a dubstep drop?
That was me, but I was supposed to.
It was a raspberry.
Yeah, like a weirdo. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, what do you do if your humor's cringe?
Cleo, say some words for me.
You just go with it.
I'm saying some words for you.
Cringe.
That's pretty good. Trevor, say some words for me.
I am saying words.
Behold, the words have been said. Thank you.
The words have been said.
My Sharona.
I'm wondering how it's changing.
Don't we all? One of my favorite things to do in the world is interrupt your sentences and just like try to complete them. Your incomplete thoughts are like a bounty of creativity. A cornucopia, as it would.
Your incomplete thoughts are a bounty of creative possibility. It's the sweetest, most romantic thing anyone's ever said near me.
Oh, wow.
Not even to you, near you.
And Josh has been to a lot of weddings, guys. Lots of weddings.
That's true.
That's true.
So this Myconid music is pretty alright, but it needs more mob boss to be lore accurate.
It's true. Lore accurate. Myconid sounds.
Needs the Peaky Blinders, like the anvil or whatever that you always hear at the beginning of every episode of Peaky Blinders.
Mm-hmm.
And Rag and Bone Man. Gotta get him to sing the theme.
First time I ever like saw that show like show up in like a feed somewhere, I thought it was pronounced Peaky Blinders.
Excuse me?
Why?
No, I don't know.
Has anyone ever pronounced the word blenders around you? Like,
no, but I don't think I have ever read the word blinders. Maybe is the thing.
Really? Not like in the context of horses.
Like it really comes up. Maybe I don't know, man. I just remember Peaky Blinders, and I was like, that's just a weird name.
I think I learned that because I think context of horse blinders is where I also learned how to pronounce it or have seen that word first time in my life. And I think that had to have been like in middle school for me or something. I want to say
in the chat,
I went to a
that's my problem. I didn't go to middle school.
Yeah, I was gonna say I went to like a summer retreat or something. And they had horses and they had blinders on because they're doing like a Western thing, but the blinders were so to be authentic, but also so the horse doesn't freak out to the audience.
Huh?
But I don't. Yeah, I'd never seen them before, and I don't know.
I knew about it mostly in sports metaphors.
Would people blinders be like in front, and so you could only look out the sides?
What?
My eyes can't do that.
No.
No, they would still just block your peripheral vision.
Yeah, the whole point is to block peripheral vision. That's the point.
So that nothing comes from the side and spooks you when you're trying to focus on what you're doing.
But horses' eyes are on the side of their heads.
Yeah, so they just put them like to the side of the eyes. To like, have you not? I'm gonna have to look up what blinders look like.
I'm just thinking of where the eyes are placed.
No, you're thinking
of
blinders, not blinders. It's different.
Blinder, I hardly know her, is what I said.
Oh, because you have to peek through them. They're the peaky blenders.
Yeah, like here, let me switch my source over again.
I'm just randomly browsing a web page. There's your camera.
Yeah, here.
I mean, I know what horse blinders look like.
Quick, docs all our other tabs.
Okay. No.
No!
Screenshotted. Posted to Twitter.
It's like, it's a lot of calculator tabs. Do they know how to do basic math?
Don't worry.
Those are calculator tabs being used to add up HP because someone made their character like 30 seconds ago. That's my guess.
I was joking about the calculator tabs. I have no idea.
I was making
this Reddit thread of multi-classing tips here.
Don't worry about it.
Hey, so I read something interesting today. I was browsing a couple of different forums. I'm on r/DM Academy and a couple others like that, and someone was talking about ways to incorporate the insight skill into social interactions. And they were saying that they design all of their NPCs with obligations and intentions rather than trying to give them goals or motivations or anything like that. And that gives you the chance so you can use insight to try and figure out one or the other, or you can use it twice to try and figure out both. But having those two things in conflict can help you as the player navigate the interaction. So an example, and I'm making this up off the top of my head, let's say you have to get past a guard. Instead of the guard having a goal or something, he could have an obligation to, maybe his captain is like a family friend, and so he feels obliged to please that person, but his inclination is towards greed. And so this guy would be easy to bribe, but he would feel bad about it, so you'd have to find a way to overcome his obligation to his captain. Maybe the money is for something good or important. Alternatively, you might have a totally different person who has an obligation to like their family. And so for that person, instead of appealing to their greed, you might try and convince them there's a family emergency, and they'll leave their post and go tend to the family emergency, and you walk past. You could even offer to help, and they would feel like they're getting something out of it. So just kind of using those ideas to sort of approach, how do I, navigate this interaction? And it doesn't only have to be helpful for getting past someone. But anyway, so I have tried to incorporate that into the NPCs I've been building for this little arc. So you're welcome to try it or not. If you don't do it, it's not going to hurt anything. The normal rules work fine. But I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it because then it adds, it forces you to think a little bit more creatively about the uniqueness. It's a simple way to add uniqueness to every NPC,
and it gives you more options than bribe them and beat them up.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much what most parties take as their approach to social interactions.
Speaking of bribes, this loading screen tip says GMs can be bribed with snacks.
That's true, but tonight I've already got the good snacks. So good.
I'm so full. I said this before we went live. I got this garlic shrimp from Costco, and I sauteed it, and I got some pasta, and I got some garlic Alfredo sauce. Whoa! And I just put it all in a thing. And it was so good. I hadn't made myself spaghetti in a long time, but I liked it a lot.
Nice.
Did you have a Costco hot dog while you were out there getting your Costco stuff?
No, but Caitlin and I went and got chicken bakes. Have you ever had the Costco chicken bake?
I believe I have.
It's like a long calzone, but with chicken and cheese and bacon and Thousand Island dressing, basically. It's very good. Sounds good. Yeah, it's great. Extremely good. Belly, I can't physically share it with you, Belly, but I did make enough that if you were here, I could. There's a lot left over.
Yeah, Belly, if you just want to go visit the Midwest, I'm sure Jake will take great care of you.
Yeah, it's in my fridge right now.
He probably would. He'd be like, hey, I'm sure it'd be fine.
I now have a less cramped living space to where you could comfortably sleep on a couch instead of crampedly sleep on a couch. So, there's that.
Hey, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to show our faces to the people. Surprise! It's still us. Sorry, or you're welcome, depending on how you feel about all that.
There wasn't a massive cast change between seasons.
Yeah, there was no cast change between seasons. Nope,
Dang.
still us. Same returning voice actors of the talent, although some of them are playing different characters than you might recall them playing. Yeah, things are good. How's everybody feeling? You feel ready? You feel excited? You wanna jump into some gameplay, or do we want to hang out with chat a little bit more? You know, I don't know. Friendly reminder, Belly Savalas and anyone else who might be out there in the chat, that a bunch of our interactive rewards are back. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with your channel points. So feel free to watch for the golden opportunity to really wreck everybody's lives there. We have all sorts of fun stuff with descriptions and limit, like the cooldowns should be written in all the descriptions of the rewards and all sorts of good stuff. So that's all in there.
Bless.
Well, if nobody else has any hesitation,
it's so weird playing D&D again. I like have
actually,
to. Yeah, so
I know.
To like shake.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
Can we talk about jury nullification?
No. It's so funny that you say that. You'll find out why in a second.
Oh no.
Open up, FBI. That's
What
the
did
next.
you do?
No, it's not open up FBI. Okay. Well,
We got to finish the game before our subpoenas all arrive at our doors tonight.
in the bunker beneath the royal palace of Gaim, Laredith, Owlin, Kit, and Zopf sit around a table making last-minute preparations. Before you are papers scattered seemingly at random, a torrent of reports from spies, merchants, informants, and even heralds passed on from the rest of Urda. It's been 6 months of Owlin's attunement and then 3 days since Owlin and Radford hired the twins. Now, sifting through all these reports, you are all trying to decide what's important and relevant. Well, almost all of you. Riley, you are in a heated argument with Wigbert, the snooty attendant of the palace, over the benefits and detractions of jury nullification. This is, I swear, written into my opening. You are also both of those characters, so go ahead, carry on.
Oh, I was not prepared for this. Oh God. Okay. All right. Can I have a sample of Wigbert again? Let me think. Okay, yeah, I can give you a sample of Wigbert.
Wigbert and his propriety and making sure everything is as it should be in the palace.
I do say I do not think this is worth the effort. I think you're going way out of the way of responsibilities. Okay. And okay. Oh God. I wasn't mentally prepared for this. Okay.
Well, as you can see, Wigbert, that without jury nullification, then the people won't be able to give feedback upon the laws that were unjustly passed.
Listen here, you twerp. I can't do. Listen here. I will have you know that those people must listen to the monarchy, and what the monarchy says is what the people will do. I do not see why they have to put their opinion. Their opinion does not matter in this case. They're not the people who are supposed to be making these decisions. The royalty are. That's why they are royalty. They were chosen to rule.
No, Wigbert, you don't understand. With jury nullification, it's how the people have a voice. Without that, you're taking that away from them, and then that's when you run into issues with civil unrest.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, the remaining members of this adventuring party, Owlin, Zopf, and Radford and Laredith, you've got this huge stack of reports that you've been studying, trying to figure out what to do. Owlin, in particular, you've been studying reports of the terrain that is to come for your adventure, while everyone else has been looking through a big stack of reports from Laredith, trying to determine what's important. And those of you who have little Dropbox link from me with those reports in them, you may now open those up and try to decide, sifting through the overwhelming torrent of information, what's important to tell Owlin about. You have 3 minutes of real-world time.
Whoa.
This is the same simulation of we're running out of time. There's too much information. So how do you decide what matters to tell him about? And I believe, Wash, you might not have a link for me. Let me send you one. Sorry.
I mean, Radford has an 8 intelligence, so he's probably just going to get some coffee and just make sure everybody's juiced up right now.
I respect that take.
What has Alan learned about the terrain?
Yeah, let's talk about the terrain. So, Alan, to get where you're going, you're going to need to navigate through the Southlands of Urida, and your group has some reports as far as what the spies have learned about the Southlands and things like that. But essentially, this is the space between the Cavorite Mountains, which, Gaim is at the kind of near the bottom edge of the Cavorite Mountains. Then there's some stretch of desert that you'll have to cross, which is the Southlands, and then that will lead you to the Rusty Mountain Range. And then somewhere in the Rusty Mountains is the city of Nowood. It was the home city of the Hemetetians where they were first founded. Hello, Grubbug in the chat. And they later abandoned their city when their god, Zanir, commanded them to delve deeper into the world and explore the Underdark, thus beginning the 500-year war with the Drow, and there's a whole thing there. Now, between you and there, like I said, the Southlands is this big stretch of desert, and then the Rusty Mountains are like dangerous on their own, but there is also a space in the middle of them called the Rusty Jungle. And the Rusty Jungle is this overgrown. It's everything you think of when you think terrifying jungle. Don't think like fun Tarzan swing through the vines with the monkeys jungle. This is like you go in the jungle and you maybe die. Think, Tomb Raider jungle. So that's kind of the vibe that you've got there. The journey is estimated to take you about 4 to 5 days to get through the desert piece, and then however long it takes you to get through the mountains. Now you have a couple different ways to navigate the mountains. And that's the piece that Laredith has really been researching for. He was like, okay, but how do you find Nowood? So what she's found is that obviously you could just explore on your own. You could take a compass, wander around the mountains, see if you can figure out where Nowood would be. But there's also a fairly thriving guide trade in the villages at the foothills of the mountains. The Rusty Mountains are somewhat of a tourist attraction for adventuring parties. Ever since they were abandoned by a civilization in the Second Era, there's all kinds of relics and leftover dungeons and, all sorts of stuff falling into decay to explore. So you might be able to hire a guide or find someone to buy a map from or whatever. And she's included in her list of reports some suggestions on here's the little village you might be able to go to and things like that. So that's pretty much what you've determined so far. Now, if your group wants to report, I'll start your 3 minutes now, just to be fair.
Do they have 3 minutes to look or 3 minutes to tell me?
All of it. 3 minutes until something's going to interrupt you and the next world event's going to happen.
What you guys got there? As I pour some coffee. Coming through with the refills. Anything good in that stack?
Thank you, Redford. Yes, I'm quite intrigued. I know it's quite a lot, but if either of you have anything to report, I would love to
Alan?
know. Yes.
Hembla who is at the base of the Rusty Mountains, and that's a good stop point to gear up, gather things, talk to locals about the Rusty Mountains if we want to head there.
What's the name of that village? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch it.
Hemblihu?
Interesting. It seems to be a tongue that I'm not familiar. Actually, no, Alan has comprehend languages now. Yes, I exactly know what you're saying.
Yes, the small village of Hembalihu.
Okay, cool. What do you have over there? Not Zopf. You're Zopf. What? Yes. Riley. I'm sorry. It will take a bit to get used to your names.
It's okay, Alan. I understand that Zopf and Riley are not the usual combination.
They sound alike.
I will say, I'm looking at this, and so we're looking for this place high up in the Rusty Mountains, right? We're looking for Nowood. Maybe we have to hit some of the more, there's this Geyser Falls I'm reading about. I don't know if that would help. It seems to lead into a cave system. but Nowood itself is going to be high up in there.
Do you know if the Geyser Falls is that's in the mountain range? Is that what it seems?
I believe it's in the mountain range, yes.
Interesting.
In the Rusty Mountains.
Okay.
We might have to go through the Rusty Jungle to get there, though. So we might want to do what my brother suggested, stop at that village and find a guide that can help us navigate through the center, because it seems the Geyser Falls is at the center of the Rusty Jungle.
This makes sense. I think that finding a guide will be an interesting endeavor, as we want to find someone that if they happen to learn the true nature of our quest, that they would definitely not impede what we were trying to do, but at the very least, but I don't know, try to help us. I know that we're asking them to do a bit more than what they normally would do.
That perhaps we should stay low in that regard. And I would suggest that perhaps we simply pretend that we're normal adventurers.
Yes.
I mean, your company, we can just pose as
lower normal
ends.
Adventurers?
Well, I mean,
at that
he's
moment,
hiring us.
There's a knock on your door.
I get it. You guys keep talking.
The door to the bunker kind of creaks open a little bit, and one of the gemstone wardens peeks their head in. These are sort of the deputies of the gemstone guardians. They're the trainees of the honor guard. And one of them pokes his head in and goes, "All right, has it been explained to you all how we're getting you out of Geim?"
No, I don't believe it has been.
Okay, well then I'll do that quick. And he steps inside and shuts the door behind him with a so here's what's going on. So we've had, now that the city is on high alert, we have detected and prevented several more intrusions from constructs and other, reconnaissance gathering entities. In fact, Her Majesty the Queen has sent a detachment of her armed forces into the Underdark to clear out, on your own advice, a 3-mile radius around the city, therefore hopefully preventing a similar situation to what you described in Tumbleweb. However, it has become clear to us from some of the other things happening in our city that while constructs have not gotten in, other spies and forces have. And because of that, we're going to be smuggling you out of the city. So we have arranged a sort of spectacle down here on the Clockwork Tier as a distraction. There will be thousands thronging the streets. So once the spectacle begins, which should happen he pulls up a little ticking timepiece and checks it, 4 minutes and 52 seconds, we will be able to release you into the crowd. You'll go unaccompanied so as to avoid drawing attention to you. And you can sort of wind your way through the crowd towards the gemstone hall at the center of the tier. From there, one of our gemstone guardians, the Gold Knight, will meet you, and he'll get you into the reticulator and escort you up to the edge of the city, where you will be able to leave through the overworld. Any questions?
No, that sounds perfect. Thank you for letting us know, and also for communicating to us about the surrounding circumstances as well.
Of course, time is artifice. Be ready to leave in 1 minute. And he steps back outside the door to make sure the hallway is clear.
Time is artifice. What an interesting saying.
Are you packed, brother?
Up? I'm packed. I'm always packed. You're the one who always leaves stuff behind.
Oh, please. You're the one that always leaves ones behind. Don't try to gaslight me.
Nuh-uh.
Such a weak comeback. Of course you would. Anyway, sorry. Alan. So in that regard, I think our best bet is to pretend that perhaps we are just visiting and want to see the falls just for curiosity's sake. Maybe keep our intentions, our true intentions.
Yes, I see. Further from the truth. And from there, we can perhaps navigate to where we need to find. Got it.
With a great crinkling and throwing of papers, Larodith finally finds the report she was looking for and says, one other thing, if you don't mind, if we have time. She looks over at the gemstone warden, who goes, 15 seconds, ma'am. She goes, okay, the most worrying report to me is not of something that has been happening, but is something that has stopped happening recently. See, until recently, spies from this area of the world had been reporting that there had been large winged creatures carrying great shining objects by night out of the Rusty Mountains, which I believe to have been dragonels or dragons carrying those divine batteries. But recently, those reports have stopped coming in, and if there's no more divine energy coming out, I am concerned as to what that might mean for... And then at that point, she's interrupted by the gemstone warden going, all right, it's time. Everybody ready to move? And he opens up the wooden door. Larodith goes, be safe, be swift, good luck. And she sits back down with her papers to get ready for what she's doing.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
And you follow him out into the thronging crowd. And at first, there's just people everywhere, right? You leave the palace, you step out through the gates swing open, and you step out hidden in the middle of a delegation. So Salen herself is walking out to do whatever the spectacle is. You haven't really heard that piece of it. But she walks out. She's escorted by a cloud of people, an entourage, probably 50, 60 honor guards. She's got, scribes and attendants and all of the things that would normally accompany the queen. She's also got her daughter, Caitlin, next to her, the princess. She walks out to the center of the crowd, and a path sort of opens up for them. And about a fifth into that path, or that parting of the people, the Gemstone Guardians you are walking with very slyly just kind of shove you off into the crowd to the side. And you're able to sort of blend into the people, especially the Wheatlings have no trouble with this. But even Owlin, who's like really tall and kind of noticeable, like even Owlin finds himself pretty well disguised in just the mass. People are cheering and excited, and you can see that at the center of the throng, there is a large pedestal of some kind with like a huge cloth over it. This is an unveiling ceremony of some kind. And so the princess and the queen walk up to the front. And, the trumpets are blaring and everything is happening. I would like each of you to roll a check. You can justify which, and if you don't care which, then I would like it to be a dexterity check to wind sneakily through the crowd without getting spotted by any untoward circumstances. And you may roll it with advantage because you have the aid of the Gemstone Guardians.
Okay.
The DC to beat is a 15.
I got a 16.
I got an 18.
I got a 12.
I'm glad you said roll advantage. Because I rolled a nat 1 before that.
I was saying, even with advantage, I got a 12.
Whoa. Alan too big.
How did Zopf do?
Zopf is muted, I think.
Zopf?
Zopf,
drop and roll.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Zopf is so sneaky that Zopf is able to cover Owlin's tracks by being visible. Like when it looks like someone's going to spot Owlin or too much attention is there, Zopf makes a distraction for you and then disappears back into the crowd with that sneaky Wheatling prowess, being just a small, fast creature. And so you're able to make it over to where you need to go without being interrupted. In fact, you as a group do so well that you're also able to catch some of the ceremony that's happening, the unveiling ceremony. And so you are all watching at the moment that Salen, having finished whatever speech she was giving, before the unveiling, she grabs the cloth and pulls it off. And standing there is a statue of a 7.5 foot tall orc with a pot tied to his back, and he's standing in sort of a like the the proud hero pose where he's got like the hand holding the backpack strap and he's sort of ready to go. And you can now see clearly not just the queen standing there continuing her, she's acclaiming the his brave behavior in defending the citizens of a nation he's not even a member of and whatever else. But you can see next to her is Caitlin, the daughter of Salen. She has a crumpled up piece of parchment in one hand, and she's standing like ramrod straight. She's straight-faced and composed as a princess probably ought to be, but you can see that her eyes are red from crying. And as the ceremony continues, you make it to the Gemstone Hall where you are whisked inside and brought into the Gemstone Guardian's care. They get you into the verticulator and begin maneuvering you up towards the exit of Gaim, and you know what that means. It means it's story time at the Wing Badger Tavern, and we will be right back.
Whoa.
Zanir, Gaunteus, Kotex, Olara. Long ago, the four ancients created a world in harmony. Then, everything changed when the chat emped magic. Only Kelnor, master of good vibes, could stop them, but when the world needed him most, he vanished. 2 years have passed, and four adventurers have discovered a conspiracy, a company selling magic. And although their roleplay is great, they have a lot of XP to earn before they're ready to save anyone. But I believe they can save the world.
let's meet our heroes for tonight's adventure. We can go in whatever order you all go in. Maybe we start with Alan. Go ahead.
Whoa.
Hello, I am Jake, and I play Alan, the Azamar Barbarian Artificer. And it was so good to hear that intro again. I haven't heard it in so long. It was great.
Hello, I am Cleo, and I am playing Riley, the Wheatling Cleric Warlock.
Hello, I am Trevor. I am playing Zopf, not to be confused with Zoth, the other Wheatling Warlock.
And I'm Wash. I play Radford the White. He's a dragonborn monk. Super cool dude, makes good coffee.
And I'm Josh, your Wing Badger Game Master. Without further ado, let's jump back into tonight's adventure as we find ourselves on the road. We're on foot, heading out of the mountains and towards the desert. And as you begin your journey, I would like each of you to describe both your character's appearance and maybe your initial behavior, your thoughts, feelings about the journey you're undertaking. Take us into your heads a little bit. You know what I mean?
For sure. Alan is a tall, blonde, long-haired, and bearded Azamar with piercing blue eyes, and he likes to go around mostly clothingless in a lot of ways. He's got furry boots, furry leather boots. He's got furry leather, I would say equivalent of boxer briefs. But they're very thick and they're very insulated. And he also has a tool belt that is mounted by suspenders. So that kind of covers a bit of his body as well. On that tool belt, he has an assortment of items. He has a bunch of tools used for tinkering and building things. He has a scimitar. He has a cool, small mechanical pistol looking thingy, but it also has a dragon's face on one end where the bullet would fire, where what you would assume to be a bullet would fire out. And he also has now a rod on his belt as well, which is the Rod of Intelligence. And that is a new addition that still weighs heavy on him, I think, at this moment. And then he also has, a pack on and whatnot. But he is walking with purpose. He is... He's been feeling impatient and really ready to go after learning how much time he spent attuning to the Rod of Intelligence, as that was kind of the resource that he sacrificed in order to do that, time. But as they're going, he's deep in thought about what Laredith said about the implications of the batteries possibly not being transported out of Nowood anymore, and whether he's leading, this group on a longer journey than they originally expected. He's a bit worried that they might get there and Do Bumblefoot will have been moved, or the things that they meant to find there will have been gone. So that's what he's deep in thought about right now.
Hey, I'm Wash. I already said that though. So Radford, he's a white dragonborn. I don't know if I've ever described his size before, but I was just looking at my character sheet. He's 5'5". So he's this really old, maybe he's 5'5" because he's hunched over, but he's just this little powerhouse, Bruce Lee looking old dude. Maybe mixed with a little bit of the old guy from Dragon Ball Z. He's just kind of old scraggly. He's got these little bearded spiked chins, spiked chin beards, spiked things, words. He's got a couple horns that curl up over each side, and now that he's outside of Gaim, he's not wearing his shirt. He likes to just wear his loose, baggy, white cloth MC Hammer pants. And he walks around on these wooden sandals. He's got a couple pair of Geta on. And then over his back, he's got this big old gourd and a big old bedroll that he keeps all of his stuff rolled up in. And he likes making booze. He likes making booze and cooking food. But right now, his mind's just it's kind of full of thoughts of the sky and airships, and he's really excited to have these to have found himself in the company of these other adventurers who are willing to join him on his noble quest that he has been called to by the deities to save the avatars. He's really, he's really excited to have them join that cause and to be here with. He feels really supported. But yeah, he's got a little pep in his step, and he's following behind Alan. He thinks he's got a lot of potential, and so he's here to support him and save the world. Thanks for looking up.
So Riley is definitely, she's looking forward to this. She's very excited to go on something new and adventurous, but I don't think she's really knows what she's in for her yet. Always traveling with her brother. Right now, in fact, as they're getting towards the top, she is going through her pack and making sure everything's neat and tidy, making sure she's counted like how many of exact ingredients she has, keeping track of, her rations, and making sure everything's up to snuff. And she's thinking to herself, this is going to be another great little adventure that she's going to go on and help, make the world a little better. And I don't think she's really processed, like, as much as she tries to dunk on her brother for not thinking things through. I don't think she's actually thought through the gravity of what she's about to do, and how it actually will affect the world. She's just like, I'm helping some people, do the world a better thing and help with magic and stuff. And the words haven't fully sunken into her yet. So she's just looking forward to maybe just having some fun, and then going back to her life after this. So
she's just happy to be here.
She's just happy to be here.
Hello, I am Trevor again. So Zopf worked in the what we would consider basically a court, or the main municipal building in the community, whatever it may be. And as a documenter organization, and he very much prides himself on all of that. And he loved to do his work, but when the darkening happened, he felt this sort of call to action to go and figure out what happened with the community and with Dew Bumblefoot, because she was ever present for their generations of lives, and so the community decided to send us out to take on this quest of finding Dew Bumblefoot. Zopf really just likes helping people and doing good in kind of the same way that Zopf did, just different personality, but same sort of goal of bettering the world around them.
Hey, it's me again. I forgot to mention Alan also has cool, thick glasses. And also that his eyes are not blue, they're gold. Carry on.
It happened since day one, season 1. Chat called him out on that. So those of you listening on Spotify might have missed the connection there. But chat was like, that's not what Alan looks like. And he was like, oh, you're right.
It's been literally months since I've played Alan, and I miss him so much, but he obviously misses me because I can't remember him as well as I wish.
So I also would like to jump in real quick and realize I didn't describe how my character looks. So
we're so rusty.
Riley is obviously a weakling, this very short little thing. She's got short, curly, dark hair that kind of just, hangs down to her shoulders. She's got green eyes, and she has this green jerkin that she wears that matches the same eye color. She made sure specifically that it matched her eye color. With some nice leather boots and just normal, what would look like equivalent the adventure attire if your adventure attire was purchased at Old Navy, So she's just like, yeah, I'm ready to go on an adventure, and probably is wearing stuff that will not last as long, but don't tell her that, okay? She thinks she looks good, and that's what matters.
How big are wheatlings? I don't think it's ever.
Wheatlings are size category tiny.
I do also have to describe my character.
Anybody else need a chance to revise it? Should we just do them all again? Here, let's put Zopf back up there.
Okay. So Zopf is he's very well kept. He likes to fly most of the time because it's significantly faster. And he's no nonsense when it comes to work. So he's flying most of the time. He has like sandy brown hair, purple eyes, and so his appearance is like white, like button down, tucked in belts, khaki shorts.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking up wheatlings in our source book here, which if you want to see chat, check out our Discord. And typically 1 foot tall or shorter with papery translucent wings that stretch to a wider wingspan than their body is tall. Pale yellow skin with many freckles all over and hair that can be a variety of colors, but is usually a darker contrast to their skin tone. That's what the wheatlings look like as a general race. They're tiny and they're fast. They have a 60-foot fly speed.
Whoa.
They only have a 10-foot walking speed because they're teeny, but they do be zooming. So anyway, are we all happy with our descriptions of our characters? Radford, you want to go again? You want to tell us a little more about what Radford looks like?
He's got white scales and he got these spiky beard, chin beards, chin spiked beards.
Sounds familiar. Am I getting deja vu?
That's me.
No, that's it. I feel like I was going to add something else just for the meme, but I couldn't.
I was going to say, you hit me with the so I stopped to wait for you. All right. Well, as you begin your first day adventuring, we're going to roll the tension die. We're going to use and we start off strong with a complication.
Yes.
You are just making your way out of the mountain. So you're at the feet of the Cavorite Mountains. You're sort of stepping out into the desert, and the wind begins howling, and the dust and the sand begins kicking up. The sun is beating down on you, and almost immediately you can see a massive dust storm kicking up in the distance. It's approaching you fast. You've got, maybe 2 rounds of time to do any preparations you want to do before this thing is on you. The sky or the world ahead of you is blocked out by just a wall of sort of deep, rusty colored sand rushing towards you like a cyclone.
Is there a rock to get behind?
No.
Alan, do we have a plan for this?
If I'm being completely honest, no, I had not prepared for this eventuality. However, I would recommend, and Alan will take, he has a set of common clothes that he never wears in his pack. Okay. He's going to take the shirt, which he will not use as a shirt, but he is going to tie it around his lower half of his face so that he doesn't breathe in dust. I would recommend doing something along these lines as well as eye protection. My eye protection is my artificer focus. However, do any of you have any
Alan,
options for eye protection?
Me and brother might fly away.
Depending on the strength of the winds, could we fit in your pack so maybe you could hold us so we don't get blown away?
Radford has unbuckled the belt around his bedroll and has loosened it up 2 or 3 notches to kind of make an opening in the top. He says, "You're welcome to hop in and hang on."
Zopf will fly in. Come on, sister.
Okay.
Just watch your wings.
I don't like the tight spaces. You cleaned this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
When did you last clean this?
Every day.
Okay.
10.
And she climbs in.
Okay. I would like Radford and Alan to make strength saves.
Okay.
And I would like the twins to make constitution saves. The strength saves are to keep your feet. The constitution saves are to keep your composure, basically. Okay. As the sandstorm rushes over you.
I rolled a 2 on the die, which is an 8.
Oof.
Ooh, I rolled a 10 on the die, which is a 5. I mean, a 5 on the die, so it's just a 10.
I also rolled a 2 on a die, which is
Oh my gosh.
I rolled a 4 on the die, which is a 6.
Okay, you do not handle this well.
You do not handle this well. You've just made it out of the mountains, under the sun, and then here comes the dust storm. It wipes you the F out. Owlin, you get flipped backwards and kind of smack your head on the ground. You take a d6 of damage as the sand begins covering you. Radford, you've got the extra weight in your pack, which is kind of unbalancing you and making it hard to keep your feet. You fall over and take a d6 of damage. The twins each take a d4 of damage from you landing on the pack. Luckily, you had the bedroll around them, which cushions them a little bit, and that's helpful. Inside, the twins, both of you have the frightened condition until you roll a successful Constitution save to break out of it. Basically, you are just overwhelmed and scared, and there's loud noises everywhere, and you can't see because it's dark in the bedroll, and now you're surrounded by sand. And worse, the sand that is surrounding you is starting to build up. And so, Owlin and Radford, you have 1 round to make an athletics check to try and pull yourselves above the sand before it buries you as the cyclone just whooshes overhead. I'm going to roll another tension die to see how many rounds.
I rolled the same thing.
Oof.
How?
Can I do something else?
Yeah, if you can. Yeah, go ahead.
How buried in the sand are we right now?
You are being buried in the sand. So your head and shoulders and probably even your torso are out of the sand, but by the end of this round, they won't be. It's piling up very quickly. Think of it like a tidal wave rushing towards you, and you're at like the bottom of the wave. So as the rest of the wave gets there, it'll cover you in one big motion.
Also, have we
Josh,
been told
can I
that
cast
we're
a
allowed?
spell?
Yeah, do we know about the rod's ability or no?
Yeah, Owlin has definitely told you.
Yeah, but if you're frightened, can you cast spells?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Could I use Mage Hand to push like the sand that's piling up around us?
Yes. Give me 1 second to figure. I'm pretty sure frightened does have an impact on what you're doing.
You can't willingly move towards the object of your fear.
And disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. So actually, if you don't have to roll, then you can totally do that spell.
Yeah. Mage Hand isn't an attack or anything.
Mage Hand is 5 pounds of force, though, which is probably not enough to stop a rushing cyclone moving towards you.
When Zopf starts doing that, I'm going to say...
It's just pushing the sand around us. It's not trying to stop the cyclone.
Build it up like a wall, like a bubble, like a ball we're inside of. And I say, hold on tight. Get close, Owlin. And I take a huge deep breath, and Radford's mouth starts to glow this almost cyan blue, and he just boom, breathes this freezy ice stuff, and I'm going to try and freeze the dust into like a shield around us.
You don't need to roll to hit. It's everywhere. Roll damage, and let's see how much roll damage, and let's see how much of an impact that has.
Ooh, that's pretty good. 6 and a 9, so 15.
15. Great. So you are able to basically, you're still going to get covered with sand from this plan, but you have a little shell around you with some breathable air in it.
I want an air pocket. That's what I want.
Yep. Perfect. So you are able to create that air pocket, and it does, we'll say, because of Zopf kind of guiding the sand around, you're able to include Owlin in it as well.
Okay.
And so everyone's in this little air pocket as the sand suddenly and abruptly goes silent, and then you can hear nothing as the sand has fully covered you. You're insulated, and the heat begins dropping substantially. Constitution saves to deal with the cold. Owlin with disadvantage because you're wearing practically nothing.
Ooh, this is cozy.
Do we get advantage for being in the bedroll?
No,
with that logic?
You're just normal protected.
Okay.
I got a 21 for the con save.
Okay.
With disadvantage, I still got an 18.
Nice.
I got a 15.
Okay.
I'm looking up a thing. I have a thing called Draconic Resistance, which gives me resistance to cold damage. I'm not sure if this would be...
That's fine for this. Yeah.
Would apply for this as well.
Sure. I don't think it does normally in climate situations, but for this instance, that actually makes sense because you just used a nice weapon anyway. So Alan, this is not dissimilar to those long nights you spent in military camps under the stars where you were like on the march and so you didn't have time to put up like a shelter. This is about that level of cold. And so to you, especially with like the sand kind of packed around like a little bunker hole would be, you're like, this is actually kind of familiar. The twins are nestled nice and comfy in the bedroll, and you are pretty much chill. You know, everything's okay. You have no idea what's happening outside the air pocket because it's fully opaque. You know, it's blocked out by the sand, and you therefore don't know if the storm has ended or continued. But you can. Well, actually, you don't really have any idea how much air you have. But any one person may make a survival check to guess.
I was about to say,
it.
can Alan make a? Could he make an argument for an intelligence check as far as thinking about science knowledge, as far as
sure, absolutely.
the volume that we have in this area and how many people are in? Okay.
Sister, are you okay?
I'm okay. Radford, you're not gonna like crush us, right? You're good out there.
Why would I crush you?
I just don't want you to fall over.
Radford's like up to his waist in like we're in this little dome of sand and dust, and Radford's like up to his waist in it.
Alan is like scanning the area, and you got a 22.
Well, I can't see out there, so I'm just gonna give you this.
You can put your hand. You can poke your head out. You're fine. Come on up.
I don't want to. I'm gonna tell me when it's over, and I'm gonna cast guidance on Radford and just dip my hand back inside.
Hand that like.
Little hand, just like
this little baby hand.
Alan, based on your calculations, you're pretty sure you've got about 19 hours or so of air in here.
Okay.
Because it turns out that even though the ice is going to block some of the sand, like, you know, it stopped the sand from crushing you, there's enough opening in the sand below you that air is going to kind of filter in through the pockets. And so as long as nobody panics and like uses up all the air, you're pretty sure you've got almost a whole day in this air pocket. You just need to be really cautious about how you behave.
Well,
you can start doing some meditation.
Yes, that is a great idea. It seems as though we have plenty of time that we can rest here while we wait for the storm to pass. In fact, about 19 hours.
How do we know when it's passed?
We won't. However, I think that maybe a good bet would be to at least wait a couple hours. Can Alan do like a history check to know if he knows anything about like dust storms in this area? Like,
do we hear the sound?
I would accept nature or survival to try and learn about the dust storm.
Nature. That's a 24.
Okay, so buried under the sand the way you are, you're not able to hear anything happening above you. But if you stay pretty still and kind of pay close attention, you can feel the sand moving, like the little vibrations in the world around you. And so by feeling those, you should be able to tell when the storm has passed. Unfortunately, you don't really have a good estimate. Like, you can't use it to forecast the length. You remember from a military survival briefing or something like that when you were warned about dust storms, it was usually said that like they blow up fast, they blow out fast. They're usually less than 2 hours. And so if you can just get into some shelter and kind of hole up for 2 hours, you're probably going to be okay.
Well, from what I have heard, it will likely be around 2 hours that we will need to wait here. But past that point, we can also, if you stay very still, which I know that you two in the pack maybe aren't touching any sand at this moment, but if you stay very still while in the sand, you can feel that there is still some movement that is not just normal shifting. It seems to be caused by it. Yes, the wind is still,
that sounds very awesome. You can feel the sand. I will stay in here until it's over.
Yes,
hey, while you're in there,
perfectly understandable.
There's like a tan scroll case. Could you hand me that?
What, you stuff in here? I can't really see what color it is, but I found like a scroll case.
It's the only scroll case. But it is tan. Thank you.
Did you pick it up? I popped it up the top.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to pop the seal on my scroll case and take out some of my papers. And just like I'm sitting at the edge of a pool, essentially, just like at a pool bar. He's just going to like roll them out on the sand in front of him and just, well, so we just need to like waste some time, right?
Yes. Yeah, likely.
I'm going to start poring over my studies.
Okay. You could also probably have brought that sheaf of papers with you if you wanted to pick another one or two of those notes that the twins were given earlier to read through. You could bring those up if you wanted. Yes.
So I'm gonna pull out an emerald pen, and a piece of parchment that I have, and begin documenting our journey. And it'll be like whatever the time and date is.
Captain's log.
Yeah. Caught in sandstorm. No idea how long we'll be trapped in sand for.
Alan's gonna like peek and see what he's writing and go. About 2 hours, as I said earlier. 2 hours.
You just crossed about 2 hours. Alan, something for you to note is this pen does not require ink to write.
That is quite interesting. I see you did not have to dip that pen in ink, although it seems to be writing in something that appears to be ink. How does that work?
I got for my 10-year promotion at work. Where everyone gets one. It's sort of a 10-year commencement thing. Everyone who's worked there 10 years gets one.
Where do you work at?
The municipal building in our village.
Stop bragging about your job, brother.
What? Yes. What is your job?
All sorts of things. Like sometimes I'm just taking like meeting notes. Sometimes I'm documenting court hearings. Sometimes I'm participating in court hearings. It really depends.
In other words, it's boring.
You're boring.
I am not. Okay.
Well, why don't you tell them what you do then, sister?
Well, I'll have you know that I post pictures of explorations. I'm a bit of an artist, and I draw pictures of all the places I've been, and I'll have you know that people have paid good money for some of the pictures I draw, and it's not boring.
This is like the first time you've left the village.
They don't know that. The people who buy the pictures, that is.
Are you gonna draw this?
Well, I was thinking about it, but I don't know if I really want to get out there. There's sand everywhere, and I don't want to get it in my clothes.
Oh, I can get it off. I can clean our clothes real quick.
I could too. It's just annoying.
Well, this is all extremely interesting. But I am still a little bit curious. How does the pen work if you didn't have to dip it in ink?
I'll hand you the pen.
Okay. Can Alan study the pen and see if he figures out how it works? He theorizes that maybe there's ink hidden inside the pen, but
of course he can.
Okay.
Let's have Alan. You have plenty of time and not really any pressure, so you go ahead and study it. Trevor, what is that item actually called?
It's called the Emerald Pen.
Oh, okay.
This pen is tipped with an emerald nib and requires no ink to write. While holding this pen, you can cast illusionary script at will, requiring no material components.
Oh, it's illusionary script.
And
it's not all illusionary. Option. You just have the spell as an option. So, Alan, as you're examining it, where you expect to find an inkwell, maybe you pull the nib off the bottom and you're like, there's going to be an inkwell under here. Nothing drips out, no spillage, there's no inkwell. Instead, you see an intricate sort of swirling pattern that leads to a rune at the back of the pen. And then as you look at the back of the pen, you can see that there's almost like a small little panel of silvered copper that rests there. And so when your hand touches the pen, it activates the rune inside. Like the heat of your skin activates the rune and creates ink, basically, for the pen to write with.
Ingenious design. It's quite simple. And Alan will hand it back. Does it work when you're outside of the range of the rod?
No.
Oh, well then, quite convenient for you to use it here. How long was your 10-year before the darkening? Did it function before the darkening?
Yes, other people had them before the darkening.
Okay.
It's very important that we bring magic back so his pen will work.
Yes, that's one of the many reasons, but
everyone's
definitely the most
work,
important
not just
reason.
mine.
Yes. Well,
for the sake of all pens.
what I was
first
also
hour goes by fairly uneventfully.
What I was also going to say to you, Riley, that is quite interesting that your job requires or is of artistic nature as well as like documentary nature. Have you talked to or any of the other four guys involved? Well, I guess no, you haven't had a chance to talk to. We should in the future talk about perhaps work involving four guys if you're interested. That we would be in need of an artist to do perhaps documentation of our work or portrayal of our work.
Aren't me and my brother already working for you right now?
This is true. I just mean in the future past this current adventure. I don't want to overburden you with more work while we're
are you going to come be my boss at the municipal building?
Alan's like unsure whether that's sarcasm or not. I was not implying anything of the sort. I just was saying that after this adventure, you guys are under no obligation to stay with us if you do not intend to or do not want to. I was just saying that Riley's skills outside of adventuring could be useful to us as well.
After this, we can talk about my contract and what it would entail.
Of course, of course.
Have you ever negotiated a contract before?
Of course. I do it all the time. It's just usually with people who don't know what they're doing either, so it makes it very easy.
I do not doubt it.
So what do we know about Hembly Who?
So.
It's a small town at the base of the mountain, and there's lots of like taverns, bars, shops. There's lots of skilled labor. It's a good place to like get equipment, to stock up on supplies.
It's basically a place for us to, a rest stop, but also it seems to be where everybody wants to just kind of get away from everything. So I'm not sure how they'll take to us traveling through. I'm sure there's probably like a touristy side and then a not so touristy side.
That's what I was going to say as well. I think I'm under the impression from what I've heard from you guys and from like the other general research we've done that us coming as a sightseeing group / adventuring group will not be an uncommon occurrence whatsoever. We should blend right in.
Correct.
So we're going to look for a guide there through the Rusty Woods, is that what it is? Or Rusty Jungle?
Yes.
Rusty Jungle.
Cool.
Yes.
I even drew a picture of what I think it looks like.
Oh.
And a little hand pops out with a crumpled piece of paper. Here's what I think it might look like. And it's just a picture of like jungle trees, right? But like painted with like a very rusty leaves and rusty colors. So think of like the jungle, but fall colored. And
seems accurate.
And then there's a little rusty metal bits on the ground.
We'll have to be careful where we walk, and I hand it back.
So Alan and Bradford, have you guys ever been buried in sand before?
Actually, I have, but not because of a sandstorm, because of a sand trap. It was a much different story.
What happened?
What happened?
Well,
the rest of your time in the sand passes I just rolled the tension die. It passes uneventfully, and so whenever you're ready to start digging out, feel free to take the scene there.
I would say Alan will. We were trapped by these mercenaries who were told to ambush us. They pretended like they were trapped in sand, and then they tried to trap us in sand. After has Alan received word that Rex and Sasha helped out the other group at the
No, the only word from Stainless, news has been real sparse. You definitely haven't heard anything from Fox. The only word from that adventuring party isn't even from that party. You have heard a herald's report that there was some kind of massive crime wave in the city of Stainless, and that it ultimately culminated in one of the largest and most architecturally significant buildings in the history of Urada being destroyed. You have no idea you don't know anything about the outcome of their adventure or whatever, but you and Laredith are pretty convinced that Fox was involved.
Yes.
Whatever happened out in Stainless.
Massive crime wave and then destruction. That does seem about right. Okay, so the people that trapped us ended up not necessarily seeming like evil people. They were just kind of inexperienced and paid to do what they did. But anyway, it's not necessarily worth telling the whole story in detail. However, it seems like it's been about the right amount of time, and I don't seem to feel the sand shifting anymore around me.
So we're getting out of here finally?
Yes, I believe that now it would be the time to attempt to escape.
Here you go.
I am intrigued by the idea of just trying to swim upwards in the sand. It's not something I've necessarily tried to do before. An alternate option would be that I do have the spell Thunder Wave, and that could scatter a sphere of sand all around us. I don't know if it would send us necessarily upward. However, it would force a sand explosion all around us, so I'm not sure how good of an idea that is.
I can summon Billy to help.
I can summon
who?
Tommy.
Who's Billy and Tommy? I guess I'm not... Did you guys tell us about Billy and Tommy previously?
No.
I don't know about Billy and Tommy.
I have a familiar. I can summon a familiar.
I just have an unseen servant.
Interesting. Billy and Tommy, are they... What are they? Would they be able to dig us out?
Well, one would be like, a normal-sized person. Well, someone more of your stature and invisible and just able to do basic tasks. And I think digging would be one, at least faster than I could dig.
Okay, well that's
She's got a point.
Mine is like a miniature form of my patron.
And what is your patron?
I believe you know her. Her
Like
dragon
somebody buy
named
stuff?
Andromeda.
Did you buy stuff from you?
Oh,
You mean our patron?
Yes, sorry, our patron.
I did not even realize that you were patrons, or that your patron was Andromeda. That explains a bit. Alan will process for a second. Well, yes, I think any help in this situation would be greatly beneficial. I would say let's try this.
Right. And another hand is gonna poke out, and trying to.
I really like the idea of Riley doing this entire adventure just poking her hand out of
Just like
Bradford's bedroll to cast spells and otherwise staying completely in there. Every time there's something to contribute, she's like written up her notes and then hands a piece of paper out the side of it. It just like appears for someone to read.
Amazing.
All right. Go ahead, Billy. Start digging us out.
I'm gonna summon my find familiar.
Okay, so the Billy is an unseen servant, right?
Correct.
Okay. And
You can do simple tasks.
such as digging upwards.
yeah. Okay. So first, the unseen servant begins digging, and so looking up, Owlin and Radford, the two of you see like two little hand-shaped furrows kind of appear in the sand above you, and then begin sweeping out to the side.
It's so weird.
As they do, you hear the like of the ice kind of breaking apart, as the furrows are pushing it to the side. And then as that begins happening, you also see or I guess, are you still in the sleeping bag? Do you summon your familiar in the sleeping bag, or like
Outside the sleeping bag.
Okay, so yeah, appearing on the ground in front of you, sort of swirling up out of shadow with just a hint of strange laughter, is a very, very tiny, perfect replica of Andromeda the Silver Star, complete with green fur over white scales, or poking out from between white scales. And Andromeda shows up, flops on her back, accepts a few belly rubs, and then leaps upwards and begins helping burrow. So there's like this little dragon that's like burrowing upwards, and there's these hands that are kind of digging out the sand next to it invisibly, and all seems to be going well for 10, 20 seconds before enough of the ice has cracked that the pressure of the sand above begins weighing down on the operation. And then with a all at once, crazy motion, boom, all the sand just collapses on the group here. I would like everybody to roll a strength save to maintain your breath, and then we'll figure out how you try and excavate yourselves from the situation you're in here. I'm going to roll a tension die.
16.
Can I have the unseen servant just hold its invisible body over the top of the bedroll so I don't immediately cover in sand?
I was gonna say probably it's not a lot of sand that's gonna get in there, and I rolled a 20.
Oh well, then never mind.
Let's see here.
I also rolled a nat 20. Let's go.
Okay, well between those two nat 20s, sure. The unseen servant blocks like a 5-foot space over you. How did Alan roll?
16.
16. And Zopf, did you roll? What'd you get?
He held up fingers to the camera, but I did
8.
8. Okay, so Zopf, you are luckily still in the bedroll, I think, and so you're still protected by the others. Alan you're doing okay as far as keeping yourself oriented, and you took a big breath beforehand, so you're holding your breath. But like the sand has fully collapsed now. Your time has gone from another day to like a couple minutes maybe at the most of breathable air down here.
Alan is going to resort to his Thunderwave idea.
Okay.
But Thunderwave, I forgot about this. Thunderwave is a cone. It's a cube. My bad. It is still a cube. Gosh dang it. I thought it was a cone.
Thunderwave is a cube, and it doesn't distinguish between friend and foe.
It also pushes away, though.
Yes, it does.
That's true.
It pushes. It's a 15-foot cube that pushes everything within that 15-foot cube 10 feet out.
Yes.
So that's potentially moving some of that sand 25 feet away.
That's true.
I think Alan is going to take that into his own hands and do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's going to cast Thunderwave on himself.
Great. The remainder members of the party, I would like you to roll a Constitution saving throw against Alan's spell save DC.
I'll roll the damage. Sorry, everybody.
Remember, you have guidance. Bradford.
And what's... Oh, right, I was going to say.
I got a 19.
D4?
It's a D4, I think, before you know the outcome.
It's only 5 thunder damage. On a failed save.
What is the DC, Alan?
Oh gosh, what is my spell? I haven't looked at my spell save DC in so long. I haven't had to. 14.
I didn't make that.
I got a 23.
Nice.
And I have evasion, so I completely dodge it.
Nice. So only...
And I'd like to make a case that they are where I am, though.
Ooh. Because we're in the bedroll.
That's fair. Yeah, okay, fine. That's fine. You all pass. It's 5 damage. The sand gets pushed away from you in this big sort of like
it's
bubble
2 damage on
almost.
a pass or on a fail. Or on a pass. Sorry, you still take half damage.
Radford doesn't though.
Oh, okay, cool.
He got them abilities. Anyway, so this poof and this just all at once. You know, it's like I don't know if you snap your fingers or what the components are that you use, but boom, this big dome of sand appears over you, and a bunch of it has been shoved out to the side. The remainder is very, very tentatively holding. Like the force has, you know how you like force an arch together? The outward force has kind of stacked it against itself. And so the downward momentum is not falling. You're back in a bubble of breathable air, but you know, you have no idea how long you have.
Even 25, like, so it's a much bigger space now, but 25 foot up, we're still covered in sand?
Yes. 25 feet up, you're still covered in sand.
Dang.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm going up.
How deep
Come
are
with
we?
me.
Yes, I have seen him do this before. We can trust him to come with him on this journey that is about to happen.
I don't think I have a choice
at this moment.
Well,
I am going to pull myself up out of the sand and
By the
run up
bootstraps?
the wall, up towards the top. I hope you're following, Alan.
Alan can try.
At least the first half of it is the right shape of slope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to jump off and try to palm strike this thing right in the center. So the idea is to break it loose enough so that it like falls down so that maybe we can like stick to the edges and climb up around it.
Radford, go ahead and roll your attack with disadvantage between carrying the twins and jumping and attacking straight up. Alan, roll an athletics check to keep up with him. And I'm going to roll a tension die to see if... Oh, that's the sixth one, too, so we'll have to clear the pool.
If Radford's punch doesn't work, Alan has a backup.
Okay. And because this tension die wasn't a complication, Alan will get a chance to use it on this same attempt.
15 to hit.
15 to hit. You are able to hit the sand at the top of the everything. Let's roll... I don't know what we roll for that, so never mind. You just get it.
Essentially, I want... Like, we're in like a capsule of air, right? And so I want the sand to start falling down at a rate so that we can stay above it.
So I see. So you want to like start the sand falling and then just start climbing, basically.
Yeah. And just stay ahead of the rising floor. Stay in the air bubble as it rises up to the surface.
Great. So you start the chain reaction of things falling. I want you to now athletics check from Radford and Alan to climb as the sand is falling.
Alan only got an 8.
Could I make a case for an acrobatics check?
No, acrobatics is for going across or for going down. Up is athletics, because it's your own strength that's going to pull your body weight upwards.
Boo.
Boo.
12.
Okay. So 12 and an 8 on the athletics checks.
Yeah, that's rough.
You are able to make some progress, but it's probably not going to be enough. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to clear the tension pool, and if there are no complications, you make it to the surface. But if any of them is a complication, then you get stuck again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looking for a 1, and we don't have any 1s, so you are able to barely make it to the surface. The two of you, you burst out of the sand like some kind of strange whales emerging from the sea, and you like flop over, and the sandstorm has only barely passed. It is like just ahead of you at the foot of the mountains, and so you can see now the sand is just lashing into the base of the mountain as the storm kind of dies out against the cliffs and the rocks of the Cavorite Mountains. And you are able to lay down and catch your breath, and the sun above you beating down a cloudless sky, almost bleached white by the fact that the sun is just up there, like directly overhead, shining down on you. And the sudden heat, especially for the two twins who are in the bedroll, I'm going to need a constitution save as it just heats up like that. I mean, you are in the desert. There's no humidity to drain the heat away from you.
I got a 19.
7. Let's go.
You are, for the next hour, fatigued. It wears off as soon as you come out of the bedroll, which is why it's not like a long-term fatigue. You just have one level of exhaustion for the next hour.
Could I pop out of the bedroll now?
Yeah, of course.
So if I pop out of the bedroll, does that mean I'm no longer fatigued?
No, I'm saying, I'm assuming you pop out of the bedroll, and that's why it's only an hour.
Okay.
And so now you all lay on the grass.
The grass, the sand.
The sand. That's what I meant. I said sand. You heard me.
Sand, grass, same thing.
Yeah, whatever.
I completely apologize. That was an eventuality that I should have considered. I'm sorry.
Is this normal?
I don't think I've traveled in a place like this, and I'm kind of glad that we're doing this on a contract basis.
But you can't say that anymore. We gotta hop to it. This sounds brutal.
Yes, I agree with Radford. We must continue on, but I, as I said before, I would like to formally apologize that we will be on the lookout for that from now on, and we should always be scanning for areas to take shelter if another disaster like that happens.
Radford, if I may, can I ride on your shoulder?
My shoulder? That's weird.
Well, I want a place to work, and I mean, it's either that or your head.
You don't like my pack?
No, I don't.
What's wrong with it? It's nice and soft.
I kind of felt like I was dying in there.
And nice and cozy.
I just don't want to be near it right now.
Okay. And I tightened up my pack. Well, the shoulder's kind of weird. Because I'm not too huge on skin contact.
That's fine. Alan, can I ride on your head?
Yes, that would be completely fine as long as you don't pull my hair or something.
I won't try to.
Great, perfect.
And I'm gonna fly up onto Alan's head, and I'm just gonna pull out sit down like crisscross applesauce, and
she always skipped flying lessons in flying class.
Oh, what are you talking about? You're the one who always skipped.
Oh, I see.
That's quite interesting because, for creatures that don't have wings, we don't necessarily need classes for things like walking or running.
You didn't take walking class?
No.
Well, it was like, a more athletic type of flying, obstacle course.
Oh, like
stunt flying.
Yes. Competitive flying and things of that nature. Well, then, of course, yes, athletic. I'm so sorry. That was short-sighted of me to not consider that part of it. Of course that would be. Well,
I just pat Alan's head.
It's fine. You can leave the thinking to me.
That is not nearly my nature. However, I am intrigued to know more about your thinking process. Let's continue onward.
Chat says the Riley to Alan ratio is pretty similar to the Cleo to Jake ratio in real life.
It is not.
Cleo, next time I'm in town, you can ride on my head if you want.
I can't believe Jake called me a manlet the first time we met. I am upset.
All right, so you continue on your journey. The desert, the Southland Desert, is a barren wasteland. There's nothing to see for miles and miles, and so you continue walking at whatever rate you're able to continue.
I say Alan would like to keep an eye out, whether that's with nature or something, to just always be aware of like places where we could try to take shelter if another dust storm kicks up or something like that.
Absolutely, Alan can do that. Let's use nature. Yeah, roll nature.
Okay, this time Alan is going to use his...
Roll us a good nature.
Well, he is, because he's going to use the Rod of Intelligence to boost this intelligence-based check to
Sounds
make sure
good.
he rolls something good.
Oh, jealous. My old flame.
That was a 22.
22. All right, that's a pretty exceptional watch you're keeping there. So the rest of the first day passes uneventfully, and as the sun goes down and the moon comes out, all that counts is here and now. And
Sorry, can you say it again?
No. Are you stopping for the night, or are you going to push through?
Alan's going to check in with the group. What do we
I'm
think?
fine. The cold doesn't bother me.
The cold doesn't quite bother me either. I just want to take the temperature of the group, especially as to whether they need the benefits of rest.
I mean, I would like a rest, but I can rest,
You've been resting, I guess, in some ways, you've been resting on my head this entire time.
I mean, I've been hard at work. See?
It's only polite to return the favor. You should let Alan rest on your head the rest of the way.
I don't think that's how that works, Radford.
I agree, Radford. She should pull her weight.
That's right. You should pull Alan's weight.
Perfectly well, brother. That's not how that works. Listen, and I have been hard at work. Look what I made.
And I hold down a piece of paper, and it's a very dramatic description, picture of spiky sand poking down in a dome formation, and all of us screaming and writhing in the sand as we're sinking into it.
See, why did you add a white dog? We didn't have a dog in there with us.
No, that was supposed to be you, Radford.
Yes, I see it. That
See,
looks just like you, Radford.
The little, you got like a little muzzle thing going on, and then you got your scales, and yeah.
It's the beard spiky thingies that actually differentiate you in the photo or in the picture.
My chin spikes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Chin spikes.
Well, anyways, if you're not opposed, then I would be okay with moving on through this night and taking a rest tomorrow.
Do we know how much further we have to go?
You can make a survival check to try and navigate by the stars.
I mean, I can't.
Well, someone can.
I think I was
reading up before we left. Let me see if I can't figure something out. And I'm gonna roll. You said survival?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah. Whew. I got a 9.
Oh yeah. You think you're going the right direction.
Well, we're definitely headed the right way, and I think we could get there by morning.
Well, in that case, I
we
think
can get there by
it's-
morning.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
worth
I agree.
continuing on. Well, in that case,
All right.
let's continue to be vigilant.
The group travels through the night. That complication we just rolled is a die that was already rolled. That one's not real. The green die is the new one. So you continue on through the night, and morning comes. The sun rises. The heat begins. You don't even have the Rusty Mountains in sight. The desert continues stretching on away from you. There's hardly anything to break it up. It's hardly even hilly. Like it's just straight desert as far as you can see.
Did we grab a map?
No. But I mean, I was going off of the reports we had. Here, let me dig in Alan's pack real quick. Alan, I'm just gonna start digging in your pack. I hope you don't mind.
We're getting kind of close to Hembleyhoo, right? You said we should be there by morning?
So does the report for Hembleyhoo mention, like, give it a map of, like, how to get there?
Not the, like, yes, there's probably, you could draw a map from the combination of all the reports. Hembleyhoo is at the base of the Rusty Mountains. The Rusty Mountains are a 4 to 5 day walk across the desert, the Southlands Desert. It's like 60 to 90 miles of desert that you need to cover.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say morning?
Yeah, you did. That's why we didn't sleep last night.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was actually like a week.
Everybody go ahead and roll the Constitution save against exhaustion from walking through the night.
I would say if given another chance, Alwyn will look out for shelter, but not necessarily for a storm. Just to if we must, we could actually rest during the day and then travel during the cooler areas of the night. We may actually.
I like that idea.
We may actually gain up some time that way.
That's some good thinking, Alan, and pats Alan on the head.
As
Alan's
a reminder,
Constitution was only 7.
Okay, you take 1 level of exhaustion. Anyone who rolls below a 12 takes a level of exhaustion on their Constitution save. As a reminder, the wilderness is a barren and hopeless place, and unless you are able to find a true shelter for yourself, described as having walls on all 4 sides and a roof over your head, you get the benefits of a short rest from a long rest, and no benefit from a short rest. We talked about this in session 0, but I know that was a while ago, which is why I'm reminding you. So that's the circumstance. You can still get that short rest, and it will probably still be good. But as far as like removing exhaustion and all the other long rest, getting your hit die back, all that stuff.
Here's what we're gonna do. I take out my big winter blanket that I keep in my roll, and I take my walking stick and I spike it up, put the blanket over it to make a little sun shelter, lay some heavy rocks, I don't know, stuff, maybe bury it with a little bit of sand on one end to like tie it down. I'm getting some shut eye. We're gonna walk at night, right?
Yes, that should be the plan.
And you too. And he points to the siblings.
Yes.
You're not physically walking, right?
Most likely not.
Okay, Howlin, let me see your shoes.
Alan's gonna take off his big boots. Pour the sand
And
out.
I am going to use maintain shoes. As a part of my rest, you can repair your companion's shoes for the next 24 hours. Up to 6 creatures of your choice who wear shoes you have worked on can travel up to 10 hours a day without making saving throws to avoid exhaustion.
Wow.
Nice.
Maintain shoes.
That's a very interesting. Okay.
Look at that ability being relevant.
I know, right?
Okay. So Radford takes some time to work on the shoes under his winter blanket, and that does mean that Radford can get the benefits of a long rest. That shelter's probably not big enough for everyone else to curl under. Maybe the twins, if they like curl up like cats.
At least
brought
one
my
of the
own
twins,
tent.
but yeah.
And I pull out this like little tiny just tarp construct that is held up by two like small sticks. And it's like I bought this at the little local adventuring store before we left our hometown, and I think it's perfect. And it's just big enough for her, and barely that.
What is it? Like
it is literally like just like two sticks and a piece of like a tarp-like substance, like just very like wool. I think what is it?
Like is it a D&D item
like canvas?
though? Like
no,
Oh,
it's just
okay,
literally a piece of canvas and like two sticks that somebody sold to me saying it was a tent. Because I was like, I wanted a tent, and they were just like, I don't have anything your size, and I was like, well, then that's discrimination. And then they made something up on the spot, and they gave
jury
me
nullification. Okay, so that's Riley.
Piece of canvas. That's where I was looking for was canvas. It's just literally just a piece of canvas attached to two sticks.
Okay.
And just put the sticks in the ground.
What about Alan and Zopf?
Alan is going to take his bedroll and also I don't know what Alan's gonna do.
Zopf has his bedroll. He's gonna dig into the sand and then put the bedroll over top.
Oh, like do like the where it's like a ditch with like the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Roll survival to dig out your little shelter for yourself.
12.
12. Yeah, you dig a decent enough shelter for yourself. It's maybe not perfect. It could use some windows or some natural light, but you know, it'll keep the sun out. And so now we just have Alan looking for a solution.
Alan feels stumped. Alan feels ill-prepared. Alan feels bad, man. He feels as though he he spent a lot of time, 6 whole months, on attuning to the rod, but then because it took so long, he only had a couple of days to prepare for this journey, and he feels like he did not do an adequate job. And that's kind of getting to him, and he tries to like take the rod of intelligence and kind of like stick it in the sand and he takes Big Boy out of his pack. Big Boy being one of Jeb's old items, and also stick it in the ground and kind of take his bedroll and try to like get it to be like kind of held off the ground by those two things and kind of try to shimmy underneath, but they're not very tall items, and so it isn't really doing anything. Yeah. And he just kind of like frustratedly kind of gets up and goes, I'll just take the first watch. I'll figure something out later.
Do you need help digging?
No. I will I'll take the first
summon
watch.
Billy again.
Alan, go ahead and roll perception for the first watch.
Dirty 20.
Okay. Nothing in particular happens. There's nothing to look at. It is mind-numbingly boring in the wasteland. At one point, a single gust of wind blows some sand into your face, and it's like a welcome relief from the monotony. And then your watch comes to a close if you're
during that time, Alan's just gonna settle for like sleeping in his bedroll, but not like necessarily doing anything special to try to keep the sun off of him or something. He'll like try to fit as much of himself inside of it as he can.
Okay,
I assume
so
a bedroll
Alan
functions
receives the
like a
benefits
sleeping
of a
bag.
short rest.
Yeah,
and his exhaustion doesn't get any worse.
Yep.
Okay, is anyone taking the second watch? Like, is Alan going to wake someone up for second watch?
Oh, Alan will wake up Radford for second watch.
I'll do that.
Okay, Radford takes second watch. Radford, perception for me, please.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's 21.
All right. 21, and nothing in particular happens during second watch either. The sun reaches the ground, and it is nighttime. You are all continuing to walk through the night, right?
Yep.
Okay,
as
great.
everybody gets up, Radford kind of kicks some sand on a little fire that he had put up. I have used my chef's materials as part of a long rest. I can bake some goodies for the day, so I hand out a couple little muffins to everybody. They had special stuff in them. Sure thing.
What special this will last me a whole day.
Oh, yeah, I should probably give you guys like half each. These things are probably like the size of your head.
Riley's like attempting to hold on to her. No, I can. This is fine.
I'll hold on to it. You can come nibble at it whenever you want.
What special stuff is in it?
Oh, it's a family secret.
It is the recipe. Good stuff. I can confirm. It's extremely nourishing.
One might say it's a vibe. Mechanically speaking, it gives you 4 hit points. Heals 4 hit points whenever you eat one.
I'm gonna take a nibble out of it. To you, it probably looks like a crumb, but for me, it's like a little chunk.
Cool.
Well, this was very good, Radford. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Somebody should choose who's going to roll survival to orient you with the stars and keep you walking in the right direction tonight.
Oh, I was paying attention. The sun went down over there. So that... Wait. I think it's supposed to think sun went down over there. Wait.
Okay, let me look at the documents this time and make sure that we're,
Go ahead and roll with advantage. Between Radford thinking he knows where the sun went down and you checking your notes.
All right. You said survival? Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I got 14.
14? Okay, yeah, you're able to figure out which direction's the right direction. You're headed towards the Rusty Mountains.
That way.
You travel through the night with nothing eventful or dangerous happening to you, although at one point you think you hear the cry of a distant animal, something loud and trumpety off in the distance. Owlin, you might recognize this as the sound of a large elephant somewhere out there. And then we come to the next morning. You're using the same situation to rest?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to roll 1 tension die for the day. And that's the end of the tension pool, so let's clear.
Clear out.
Who's on second watch?
It would probably been Zopf and Riley this time.
Yeah, so which of you takes second watch?
I would take second watch.
All right. Riley, you are taking second watch. Around you, people are sleeping, Owlin as well as he can, and resting. And you feel something in the ground before you see it. You feel the ground start to shake a little bit. And then you look up and you can see emerging out of the sort of hazy distance that is a desert that stretches onto the horizon, these sort of small, like insectoid shapes kind of rushing towards you. You don't have a very good judge of distance between being a tiny creature and them being off on the horizon, but something is kind of racing towards you.
I'm going to fly up just to get like a better perspective. That gives me like a second point of reference.
Yeah, you take a quick little upwards jaunt, and now you can see that whatever these things are, there's 3 of them, and they're kind of kicking up a cloud of dust behind them, racing toward, not like straight on. It doesn't look like they're running at your group. They're just running in your general direction. Like if they go in a straight line, they'll pass you. They won't run into your camp or anything. But these creatures that are rushing towards you, they get closer and closer, and they go from gray to like a silhouetted black to eventually finally being close enough that you can make out some real detail. And you can see that they're actually not as small as maybe you thought they were when you saw them way off in the distance. Instead, they are pretty large, and they have these sort of hooked tails coming out of the back of them with like a large spike at the end of the tail, and they're rushing towards you. And again, you can see like the dust cloud behind them. The plume's getting more clear now.
Can I roll to tell what it is?
Sure, you can roll a nature or a survival check.
All right. Ba-da-da-burr. Okay, I got a 14.
You got a 14. With your 14, you, even if you haven't seen like giant ones like this before, you know what a scorpion is. This is like, these are 3 of the largest scorpions you've ever seen. And they're rushing towards you.
I'm going straight down to Alan's tent.
Okay.
I don't have a tent. I'm just curled up inside my bedroll.
Alan, you feel a really soft little like in the top of your bedroll.
Yes.
Alan,
yes.
I don't want to alarm you, but there's...
If it's something worth being alarmed, then I would like to be alarmed.
Well, there's 3 large scorpions coming our way. I don't think they know we're here, but they might find out we're here.
Okay.
I'm gonna zip back up. Can I tell like how far off they're gonna pass us by? If they continue.
Roll maybe an insight check to try and like deduce from their path what's gonna happen.
Non-nat 20?
Non-nat 20. They're going to pass you by a good, 70, 80 feet, something like that. Off to your north. They'll pass by your camp.
Okay. I'm going to zip back down.
It looks like they might pass us by 70, 80 feet to the north. If we just kind of stay low, maybe they'll pass us.
That is quite possible. Alan will also dig deep in his brain, try to think about things nature-wise. What is a natural predator to a scorpion? Does he know of any? Like if he thinks about it or needs to roll for it?
A natural predator to a normal scorpion would be several of the more fierce birds of prey. But you can roll a nature check or a history check to try and recall something about specifically like the monstrosities that are giant scorpions.
Okay.
And if you know of anything like that.
I'm going to go wake up Radford.
Radford?
What?
Not to alarm you, but there's some giant scorpions that are going to pass us.
Well, that's alarming.
Well, they're going to pass us, about 70 shins to the north. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but I thought just in case, they notice us.
And then Alan's going to kind of like wave and be like, it's all right. I'll take care of it if they get closer. And Alan rolled a 16.
Rolled a 16.
Yeah.
Bigger scorpions, they're probably being hunted by bigger birds if something's hunting them.
Okay.
In fact, you know of a few larger creatures, like dragons. Dragonelles obviously are big enough to prey on giant scorpions. Mm-hmm. But there's also a creature called a roc, R-O-C. That huge bird, 200-foot wingspan, fierce cry, often mistaken for a dragon, and sometimes even seen fighting dragons for territory. Those birds are also likely prey, or likely predators, I should say, of the giant scorpions, and they are also associated with desert environments. So from your historical recollection, you think that's most likely what's pursuing these creatures if they're fleeing from something.
Oh, if they're fleeing from something.
I am going to take my blanket and I'm going to pull my staff out, lay the blanket flat down on the ground, start burying it with sand, and I'm going to get underneath it and try to get out of view, so it just looks like sand.
I say Alan's going to try to do the same thing, but first he's going to get out his tinkering tools and one of his ball bearings, and basically what he's trying to do is prep some artificer tinkering to the point where if the scorpions start veering close to them, he can make a tiny item emit a sound, a non-verbal sound that can be perceived 10 feet away.
Okay.
And so if they get really close, he's going to try to make the ball bearing kind of toss it out and have it sound like a bird of prey to scare them off. If that is what it comes to, but he's also once he gets that prepped, he's going to try to do the same thing as
What are the twins doing?
There's room for you in here. You stay still.
I don't think I'll need to hide.
I was never woken up.
And I guess you're already in a little ditch with the blanket.
You're
there's
already safe.
Already sand on top of you.
I'm going to make sure I stay prepared because I have a few ideas of how to deal with them should they come this way.
Amazing.
So are you staying above the ground?
I am laying flat to the ground.
But not
I
like
am
digging
staying
in
on
or
top of the
anything?
sand.
Okay.
No, I'm not digging in.
Great. So you were laying down on the sand. Alan is working on the artificer preparation. So before there's going to be another round of activity here before you dig your hole, Alan.
Yep.
So you're doing your preparation, kind of getting things ready, maybe keeping half an eye on the scorpions as you kind of try and focus on both. And Riley, you are just kind of laying down on the ground, trying to be ready and aware. With an 18 on the die, the rock that is pursuing these three giant scorpions swoops out of the dust cloud behind them. And so at first it just looks like the dust cloud is suddenly moving faster than the scorpions are. It just, this big whoosh of it kind of swoops forward, and then out of that, as if it's, emerging from the blast furnace of hell, is this giant bird, 200-foot wingspan, deep blue feathers, these like sharp piercing eyes like a hawk would have, but way larger on a totally different scale, white fur on its underbelly with a red stripe down it, and these huge hooked talons, swoops down, and it grabs the middle giant scorpion, and the other two panic and like flail out to the left and right. And so one of them is now rushing straight towards you as the other one rushes away. The rock soars up into the sky, already kind of pecking down and shrieking at the scorpion it's holding before releasing it at the top of its arc, and it just plummets to the ground with this huge puff of sand emerging. The rock is now going to try and decide which of the two remaining scorpions to pursue.
Now Alan has a good audio sample for his
That's true, yeah.
for his ball bearing.
Okay. As it's getting ready to dive, Alan, you have a decision to make. Your artificery is prepared. Are you going to dig down, or are you going to stay up and get advantage on your chance to intimidate with the sound of the bird?
If he deems that will be advantageous, he will go with that route instead. He'll stay up.
Okay. Yeah. It just means you're more likely to get a good throw, right? From underground, you can't get the timing right. Okay. Perfect. So then in that case, Alan, go ahead and roll an intimidation check with advantage to scare off, or if you can convince me of another skill, you're welcome to do that.
Intimidation is fine. That makes sense for this.
And then the scorpion's going to, bulldoze its way towards you, sand flying up in its wake, your camp now directly in its path.
15. That's not as good as I hoped for advantage.
15. Let's roll a save. On a natural 1.
Let's go.
That 15 is plenty. And so as it's rushing towards you, the sound of the bird, that same battle cry that you just heard, Alan has been able to replicate. And it's so believable that the scorpion tries to juke the rock as it dives towards it, and so it jukes to the side and runs right next to your camp. It actually blows sand in your face as it rushes past.
So however, now Alan will spend his next action trying to bury himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
However, the bird has gone for the other huge scorpion and has caught it. And so now there are two huge scorpions that have been killed and are sort of in a little pile. And the bird is kind of, the rock is looking into the distance, those intelligent hunter's eyes gauging whether it's worth going after the third one or not. It seems like after a little while it decides to leave it, and it sits down for about 30 minutes and feeds itself with one of them, and then grabs the other one and flies off into the distance. Alan, with your sort of rudimentary knowledge of wildlife hazards, you can kind of put together the pieces that like this creature probably has a nest somewhere, and so there are probably more of them. And that brings this encounter to a close. The sun is on its way down, and it's just about time for you to continue walking anyway.
Well, if we want to rest up for a bit and then continue on, that was...
I'm not sleeping after that. I don't know about you guys. I'm not sleeping after that.
What I missed? Wait, what happened?
Oh, you missed it. There was a whole flying bird thing and giant scorpions. And
wait, which one's a scorpion? Which ones are those? What's a scorpion?
Should draw a picture.
It's the ones with the legs. Here, I was in the middle of already sketching it out. Here's a rough sketch, and I show a rough sketch of like a demonic-looking scorpion with a large tail.
I think I read about those in a book. I think I saw them in a book.
Yeah. No, there's 3 of them, and then this big bird. Here, let me sketch that one out too. And I draw this bird with 3 different talon grasps coming out and 4 sets of wings. And I was going a bit creative with it, but it was like a normal birdish thing, just very big,
giant bird.
Yeah. Wow. To the wheatlings, that bird must have looked ginormous.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone told you that you are a heavy sleeper?
I tell him all the time, but he doesn't believe me.
It doesn't come up often.
That is quite evidence of that. We will have to keep in mind in the future that if something happens while we rest, we will definitely need to wake you up.
If we can.
Yes, please do. I don't want to die.
He wouldn't have died. He would have been fine.
Oh, he could have been eaten. For sure.
Well, I had a plan just in case.
To be fair, I don't believe giant scorpions eat humans. I think that we are more an obstacle to them.
But we're not human.
Well, I apologize. I didn't necessarily mean humans. I'm not even a human either. I meant
I'm not even a human either. I have no idea where this is coming from.
None of us here are humans. This is internal bias coming from the human puppet master that is controlling me.
I don't like where this is going. This is scaring me.
Humanoids. Maybe that's what you
humanoids.
meant.
Pretend I said humanoids. I don't believe they view humanoids as food.
Alan? Are you going through an existential crisis?
I am quite flustered, and I kind of am because I pride myself on being prepared, and this has not been a great execution of that. However, I believe that it is time for us to continue onward.
Prepared? I can help you be prepared. And you turn, and they're having emerged from nowhere as if teleported there, but clearly having walked by the length of footprints behind him is a dwarf unlike any you've ever seen. He is fair-skinned and totally sunburnt, head to toe sunburnt. He's got on like a little toga, robe kind of thing, but his arms, his face, his neck, completely sunburnt, almost as bright red as the red hair kept in a mullet and his handlebar mustache. He has these twinkling brown eyes, and he's carrying a way oversized pack. Like if Radford's gourd were 6x scaled, that's what this thing would look like. It's this huge. It almost looks like a balloon, like a hot air balloon, strapped to the back of him, And he's carrying all this stuff, and he's hobbling towards you. Yes, somewhat like that, actually. Yes, that's not a bad illustration, the mini that Wash is holding up to the camera. But he's walking towards you, and he goes, I can help you be prepared. There's nothing Duffin can't get you. What do you need?
I'm gonna do a medicine check to see if
if he has sun poisoning
needs. Yeah, does that need to be treated?
Do you know where the Rusty Mountain is?
Rusty Mountains? Yeah, they're that way. And he points back behind the way he came.
I've rolled a 16 to check on his sunburntness.
Oh, he's real sunburnt. He's probably sun poisoned. He seems to have sort of worked it into the natural immune system of his body, and he's just kind of rolling with it. He seems like he's been sunburnt so long that his skin wouldn't know what to do if it healed. You know what I mean? His freckles have freckles. He's
How far away is the mountain?
Oh, just another couple days walk. Do you need any supplies to help you get there?
Do you have any portable shelters? Perhaps?
Absolutely. Let me see here. And he swings off his pack with a deftness that you would not have guessed from the small dwarf. But as he puts it down, it reveals huge biceps from carrying this thing everywhere and shoulders. He sets it down and he clambers up to the top of it and then unzips a zipper, and the whole front of it folds down into a little carpeted area. And so from him leaning on top, he's sort of leaning over it and reaching down into the bag, and he's tossing stuff out, making this big mess on the sand around him. No, those are sand shoes. Those are, that's leather. That's, here we go, shelters. And he pulls out this giant tent. He says, this should be big enough for the 4 of you. Well, 2.5 of you. And he tosses down tent with stakes that can be wrapped and carried by someone. It's about as tall as Alan is, it will encumber you, but it's a good shelter, good quality. That'll keep the desert heat right off of your back, and it'll keep the wind away from you too. You can even stake it down, and he hops off the the top of his little inventory and lands on the sand next to it with a thud. Sand shoots out to the sides like a little shockwave. He goes, you can even take these stakes, and he shows you, these ones have lead weights on them, so if you just bury them under the sand, they'll hold it in place in the case of like a sandstorm that blows up. I mean, you wouldn't want it to be in like a big old cyclone, but any, medium-sized storm, this will just take great care of you, just your average sandstorm. You still want to obviously follow proper safety protocols and dig on down if you have like a real sandstorm coming after you, but those little squalls that blow up, this will take great care of you. What do you think? Just 350 wingle digits.
I do not have that many.
What's your health and safety worth to you?
Sir, you're sunburned. Do you need healing for that?
What are you talking about? I'm not sunburnt.
You're very clearly sunburnt, sir.
Duffin's just got thick red hair. See, it's like this, but on my arms. Don't you worry about old Duffin.
I'm just gonna cure wounds.
Eye and like eye protection and like a face cover?
Yeah, we got some covers. Hang on. And he turns around and clambers back into his pack right as Riley is reaching out to do the healing magic. He climbs back up and in. And he said, let's see here. And a few pots and pans and kettles kind of fly out the top of the pile of stuff until finally he emerges and goes, all right, I've got cotton, leather, and silk face wraps. Which kind of wrap would you like?
Whatever's the least hot.
The least hot? Well, silk's going to be the softest, cotton's going to be the warmest, but leather's probably going to be the most durable. You know what I'm saying?
What about breathability?
You can breathe just fine through any of them. These are all face wraps. They're built to be breathed through.
I'll take the leather.
The leather one it is, and he hops down. That'll be 5 wingle digits.
3.
3 wingle digits? For a good, sturdy, survival piece of equipment like this, you can't find equipment of this quality this far east. You know where I had to go to get this? I had to go the whole way up to Fladena.
Where's that?
It's in the north.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Brother, I don't think he's gonna really want to haggle unless you have a reason to.
I think that quality of leather is worth 3 wingle digits.
Well, you don't have a very good eye for quality then.
I don't think you have a good eye for quality.
For 3 wingle digits, I can sell you this cotton one here.
Brother, you were never good at haggling.
Sure I am. Can I make a persuasion check?
Not without coming up with a good reason to try and persuade him.
Listen, sir,
you could make an insight check to try and figure out what the pressure points might be.
I will do an insight check.
But
okay.
for the 10,
13.
Let's see what how well he guards himself. With a nat 1, he seems like a person who's very proud of his independence. And so he's that's a big deal to him that he's like doing his own thing and he's on his own. But he's got an obligation to someone. Like, you can hear it in the way he talks about the quality of his wares and the fact that he doesn't want to negotiate on his prices. He seems like he might he has a debt that he needs to repay or something like that. And as you're watching him trying to figure out what it is, you notice that around his neck is a little twine necklace with a holy symbol of Kotix carved out of wood laying there. And you kind of put the pieces together, like maybe the Church of Kotix took care of him at some point, and so he's trying to live this independent lifestyle, but he feels indebted to them and wants to pay them back. And that's why he's having so much trouble bending on his prices.
Well, I can just continue on my way. You get no money, or I can take the leather mask for 3 and you get something.
I'm just saying, you can continue on your way, but this is good quality material right here.
Sir.
It's average quality material at best.
Says who?
Says me.
I'm a good appraiser, and I appraised it myself.
So am I.
Brother, will you just stop for a second? Okay? You're going nowhere. Listen, sir, for the tent.
Yeah?
that are, and here Alan was looking to indulgent. I don't think that price is something that we can afford, but if perhaps I can offer some relief to you, because your skin's really is burnt. You need to see somebody about your skin.
My skin ain't burnt. My skin's just like this. What are you talking about?
You don't understand. I'm going to touch his skin to see if he reacts to the sunburntness.
Does it turn white?
You touch his skin, it does turn white, but he doesn't react. All the nerve endings in his arm are fried.
This could shorten your lifespan, sir. This is a problem.
What do you mean shorten my lifespan?
Well, elders who talked about how...
Let's see if you can get him off balance a little bit.
Ooh. That's way up there. Ooh. Persuasion, that's going to be 21 plus 4
25.
25.
So what you're saying is if I don't have my arms taken care of, then I'm going to die.
Well, I mean, yes. But it's just, it has a very high risk of developing into problems that can, lower your life expectancy substantially. You ever heard of cancer?
No, I can't say I have. What's she like?
Well, cancer is a disease that doesn't go away very easily, and once it's taken root, can kill you, and it's usually debilitating. And sun exposure, that as bad as this can lead to it later on in your life.
No, but I couldn't let you, because then I'd owe you one and I have to track you down. We can't have that. I don't have to be chasing you down and owing you stuff, You
don't have to owe me if you give us what you think is fair in return right now.
So what you're saying is you do a little hocus pocus and make my arms less burned, and I give you a tent.
Well, a tent and and a leather face wrap. I figure compared to the tent, it's not much on top.
Roll persuasion with advantage. You've got him on the ropes.
I have a DM question. Does Alan have access to any of Four Guys' resources from Gaim? Or no?
Sure. Roll a d10 and multiply it by 1,000, and that's how many wingle digits you brought.
Oh, sick. Ooh. Okay.
I got 25 again.
25 again. Okay. He says, do the arm thing first. Let me see if there's any seriousness to all this. But I ain't gonna owe you one because I'm gonna give you the tent, right?
Well, no. I think that's what we agreed upon. The tent and the face wrap. Yes.
Yeah. Good. All right. And he very gingerly holds out his arm towards you. He's very hesitant.
I'm going to go ahead and cast Cure Wounds.
Okay. You reach out to touch his arm to give him Cure Wounds, and his bicep is as big as your whole torso. Reach up and ding, and cast Cure Wounds. The red sort of recedes and slopes, but almost like when a snake molts or whatever, and it just slithers out. It's the opposite of that, where the red just recedes underneath his tunic and kind of vanishes, and it comes up and across his face, and his face goes back to being fair skinned, and you can see that under all that sunburn there's a little sparse dotting of freckles, but otherwise he's just a little fair skinned dwarf. And he looks down at his arms and he goes, "As I live and breathe, how strange."
So you clean up well nice.
So those weren't just arm hairs then on old Duffin. Duffin always thought those were just arm hairs, and he shows you his arm hairs if you've never heard of the concept, like these, but redder. You know, like,
No.
because I got the mustache is nice and red, so I just assumed it was all red. Well, anyway, you done Duffin a good service, and I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. And he reaches down to shake your hand and does not realize how much smaller you are than him, and so it kind of hurts a little bit as he like shakes your tiny hand.
Please be gentle with my arm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's your tent and your face covering, and he hands over the leather face covering. He goes, I'll be on my way now. Thanks. And he turns around and begins zipping and putting his pack back together and whatever.
I hold on to the leather face covering. But
in order to zip it, he has to like put the canvas in his teeth and then scale the outside of his pile of stuff and then like zip it at the top. And he kind of slides back down, and you can see that he's built in an actual slide. So as he slides down, it like harnesses his arms into the straps, and he like and kind of stands up and hefts his pack.
You wouldn't happen to have a sled in there, would you?
Let me see. And he boom sets down the back, climbs back up to the top, unzips it. The whole thing falls down. He kind of reaches in and climbs deeper and deeper. His little legs are poking out the top of this big pack of stuff. He's kind of searching around, and then at the bottom, Radford, you have to like use your monk instincts and duck out of the way as a random piece of junk from the pile zooms out at your face, and his little head pokes out through the hole he's made, and he goes, "Yeah, I got a sled in here. Do you need like a toboggan or like what kind of sled?"
Yeah, like something for like pulling this big huge tent across the sand.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, let's see if this will do. And it just like flings the bottom of the pile out to get the sled out, and so the whole thing just avalanches down, and he kind of rolls around in it and comes out the other side. It's very much like that scene in Harry Potter where like all of the gold is on them and they're trying to escape the vault. He kind of like pulls out the front of it and like, here we go, and he sets down the sled on the sand. It's got these big wide skids so that it won't like fall underneath the sand. And it is just the right size for you to set that tent on top of. It's not big enough to haul people or anything like that, but it's just big enough for like a large tent or maybe a couple of adventuring packs to sit on. And so you're able to put the tent on there, and he says, now this one you're going to have to pay for. That's 100 wingle digits for a sled of this quality. That is some of the finest Ari Vale wood that you've ever seen on that.
I say, before any of the wheelings can start to haggle or anything like that, Alan is going to step forward and hand him the 100 wingle digits and say, we are greatly he realizes as he's about to say we are greatly in your debt, but he realizes that that's something that this guy would hate to hear.
Greatly in my shadow? And he points up at the huge pile of stuff behind him.
Yes, that is exactly it. We really appreciate what you have done here.
And I appreciate getting to do it. You all have a fantastic rest of your journey. And he turns around and begins putting his pile of stuff back together and whatever. It seems like it might take him a little while. He might be at this for a while.
Just make sure you keep your skin covered and get healthy amounts of shade. Don't let yourself get sunburned.
Walk with your pack to the sun.
He like waves at you from where he's working. He's like, he's got his mouth full of canvas trying to put his bag back together.
Well, let's continue onward.
What an odd
and
fellow.
by the way, brother, you can have this face wrap for 5 wingle digits.
And on that note, tonight's Dungeons and Dragons session comes to a close. We will pick up next week as we continue the adventures of this crew. Unfortunately, next week, our good friend Trevor will not be with us. What is a reason that that your character might miss the next session? What's something Zopf might be occupied with? Anyone in the group is willing, able to contribute here.
Obviously, anything to do with Andromeda or the clan they're a part of. He could be pouting too much from his failed attempt at haggling and his sister winning.
Chat says that maybe he's sleeping through the whole session. Like maybe he's in the tent that you're pulling on the sled. So Zopf just
uses the leather wrap to as an eye cover, for a sleeping mask, and then
Zopf would not give Riley the 5 out of pride.
Ironically, he could have heat stroke or something.
That's pretty odd.
Because he rejected the mask.
Yeah, he rejected the mask, and he now has some debilitating health effect because of it.
Yeah, and because he's so small, you can just roll him up in Radford's pack until he sleeps it off.
There you go.
And because you have the tent, Radford doesn't need to unroll his bedroll. So, like, maybe that's where he is. This is chat says this is when his people usually have their yearly pee.
Oh, that's a reference.
R/brand new sentence.
What is that? Is that a reference to something?
No, I don't think so.
It is.
Oh, really?
It is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I think that's from the Orville.
Gotcha.
It is.
Oh yes, I do remember that now. What a callback.
Well, anyway, thanks, chat, for hanging out with us. I hope everyone had fun. And it is nice to be playing D&D again. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
This has been great. If you want a recap of the season 1 and season 2 things so that you've got like the full story caught up until now on YouTube, on Spotify, everywhere else, whatever, today, a full recap, like just the recap that we've been working on for a while. It's like the polished, finished version of that is now live, and you can watch it and see it.
It's super helpful and a good explanation and very funny as well.
I think it's a good time. Yeah. So yeah, that's all those things. And next week, join us to see what happens when this adventuring crew makes it to the Rusty Mountains. Until then, from all of us here at the Winged Badger Tavern, what do we tell the people, Alan?
I believe that the phrase we have coined is GG and GN.
So it is. Night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
And then I left, like, look, now we have a little end screen because
Nice.
I got that dope art.